Good morning. This is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, coming to you in the series of 5 slightly different things. Today I'm going to be talking about faith over fear. This is the card that I pulled. So beginning of this series, I was led to, I've just recently got the Christ Conscious Self-Mastery deck, and I pulled 5 cards for myself, and while I was reading about them, the dragons thought it was a good idea for me to actually use the 5 cards in a series of 5 recordings about what does this mean to us. So this is day 3, and this is again faith over fear. You can cope. So I think this speaks to a lot of us, and a lot of us on a spiritual path. We've been tested. So this is about the story of Jesus calming the storm. Is well known. It is said that as the storm unexpectedly arrived, the frightened disciples woke Jesus from his sleep for fear of being drowned. But after he calmed the wind and the waves, he rebuked them for having little faith. At first glance, this may seem insensitive. They were frightened, so why were they chastised? However, what is really being demonstrated is tough love to each of them, that their fear was bigger than their faith, and it was that which was bigger problem rather than the raging seas. Jesus was reminding them of the immense power, resourcefulness and capability within ourselves, which is amplified when we stay connected to God or Source or whatever that is that you feel that is right to you. When we remember this fact, we have less reason to worry and fret because we understand we are divinely guided and always helped. So some notes that I made for myself when I read this was talking about how fear can drive us, and we forget. And I'm frequently this is coming up when I'm doing some readings for people, and certainly in my own life, that we need to remember that all we need is within ourselves. We don't need to go out looking outside. It's all within us. But that is about having faith that we can go within. We can go in there and look for those answers. Often, certainly in our society, we go looking outside for other people's opinions, what other people think. And sometimes we need to just keep that into ourselves and go inward. So here's a couple of questions. What storms have arrived in your life, and how did you handle them? Were you able to trust and have faith? So that made me think of my life's journey, which did not go in a direction that I believed it was going to go in. And I've often said, looking back on certainly the last 20 years, that was not what I planned. I became a single parent of teenage boys after I got divorced, and I had to step out into the unknown. I didn't know the answers to what was coming next, whereas in my marriage and in the safety of that, I sort of knew if we did this, then this was going to happen. And I remember clearly telling my kids that I don't know about tomorrow. I don't know about next week or next month. We took it one day at a time. And I think that's what we sometimes have to do. We often get into that cycle of what ifs. What if I do this? And what if I do that? And what if? And then we start catastrophizing things. I don't remember back then that I did that. I think it really was. I was stepping into the unknown. Nothing was familiar. And I learned as I went on, and so did my kids. My kids are now in their 30s, so we all survived, obviously. I also have lost. I've lost all the things that I thought I was going to have were not there, but the things I have now are mine. So that was a big lesson. A lot of things I took for granted, and then when I was that person on their own, I had to learn to survive. I had to learn to overcome a lot of adversity. And so many things, when I look back, wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have stepped into that realm of being a single mom. It's made me stronger. I've learned many lessons, and that is how I now see that as how I've grown. I wouldn't have known that back then if you'd have told me, well, these are lessons that you have to learn. I would have probably sworn at you and said, you don't know what you're talking about. But now in retrospect, I can see these were huge lessons. So if any of you out there are feeling lost or you want answers to questions, it's like I said, I think in the last video, and I say this all the time because that's what the dragons tell me. Sit in stillness, sit quietly, quieten your mind, do some deep breathing. If you can really go inside of yourself, you can find those answers. Yes, talk to your friends, talk to family, but the truth is in here. So just remember that I didn't know that was going to come. So faith over fear. So all of us also have our own connections, things, or beings. I have my galactic family. I have certainly my spirit team and my dragon team that I work with. They're all comforts to me, and they're who I reach out to. I think I said yesterday, it doesn't always mean that you have people here in the physical. We can reach out to those connections. Some of them are past life connections or parallel lives, however you want to view it. So I did want to end this again with this last paragraph, which I couldn't put it better. It says, the miracle of calming the waters and wind also feels symbolic of us being able to balance our emotions, which is water, and thoughts, which are air, to the masters of our own ship, realizing that we are harmonizing our inner state. This will be reflected in what will manifest externally. We can create calm waters or raging seas. Feeding our fears or feeding our faith is a choice we get to make. It takes practice to respond from a place of assuredness and strength, helped each time by cumulative effect of choosing faith over fear. Seek to build up your divine knowing that that all is well, and that you are equipped for any eventuality, unexpected, planned in your life. So it really is about having faith over fear and knowing that you are perfect as you are, that we don't need to make any changes. So again, thank you for listening to me. I hope you found this helpful, and tomorrow, I think it is, tomorrow is miracles. So this is the card that I'm going to be talking about tomorrow, which is miracles, manifest and believe. So have a good day.